Hello, it's Nikki. Buckle up. This is a juicy one. Welcome to episode workshop 14. Today, we're going to be talking about charging worth and value as a personal brand. Now, it goes without saying, this is a totally individual experience. What one person on the internet might feel about charging and worth and value will be very different from the next person. So I urge you as we go through this process to really tune in with you, what feels good to you. And if it feels good, do more of it. And if it doesn't, pay attention to it and tweak it as you go. Now, as I always begin, if we are meeting for the first time, or if you're a long time follower of this playlist, I am so delighted that you are here. I talk about this topic all the time. I've helped hundreds of clients to activate and illuminate their personal brand over the last 15 years. And in my own life, I have been activating and illuminating my own personal brand for 25 years. My work takes me in many different directions. I'm a trained actor, a qualified coach, a speaker, a writer, a collaborator. I'm a mum of two. I do lots of different things. So if you like this style of learning, feel free to go over to my website, nikkiravey.com/workshops, and we can get to know how we can work together further. Right, let's dig in to some money narratives. Now, I've generalized here just to give you a pick and mix to choose from. Some may all appeal or you might recognize, and some may not resonate at all, but some really will. So let's see how they land. The first thing is money and kindness. The fact that the two of them should be inextricably linked, always money and kindness. And if you want to be kind, maybe you shouldn't charge. You should be giving people a favor, doing something for free, doing something out of the goodness of your heart. Oh my goodness, there are so many things, especially as women, that we have been taught. It's not kind, it's not generous, it's not spiritual, it's not nurturing. These are not my beliefs, by the way. This is what we've all been exposed to over the years. We shouldn't be charging. However, as you may have noticed, most of the direct debits that leave my bank account every single month, those people don't care about kindness. They want their money. They don't want me to do a kind negotiation. They are, look, we've given you gas and electricity, and now this is what you need to pay. That is the way that it goes. Number two, there is an assumption always that you have to work hard. And even if something comes easy to you, as in you've worked really, really hard and then you get a big influx of cash, somehow like, oh, it's just a fluke, or you've got to work even harder. You've got to prove that you have really grafted in the situation. And that extends to it. If it's being easy, then you shouldn't charge. There's almost this assumption that if you enjoy it, or you're having a great time, or you love what you do, somehow that is not worthy work, which I'm going to say is absolutely the opposite. Very few people are in a position not to charge. Sometimes, well, I certainly saw this in the pandemic. When the 2020 March 2020 moment happened, my partner lost all of his work for the year indefinitely. I had a 4 year old and a 6 month old or 8 month old, and a lot of my work had also closed. But I also had to then figure out how was I then going to support my family. There wasn't a moment of like, well, it's my baby's first year, I'll just take it easy. We needed to put food on the table. And so those moments, and we still do, by the way, we still need to feed our kids. It's like nothing miraculous has changed where it's like, oh, food just appears, or I don't know, it's we're just in that situation. We still need to generate income. And so when people say things like, "Oh, I just want to do this as like for free," or things like that, sometimes it does a disservice to other people, because I get why they're saying that, because they don't need to work. All of their needs are taken care of. But the more women that I speak to, especially, that is not the case. I'm going to float the fact that some people need to pay in order to get the results. I use this example all the time. When we moved into this house, I went to hot yoga all the time. I'm struggling to do it a little bit at the moment because my partner is working in town. And so finding that schedule that works for me is really difficult. But guess what? I guess this proves my point. I've not been to yoga and I've not done any yoga at home. But when I paid for it, I was in that yoga studio 4 to 5 times a week. I was there first. I booked. I never cancelled because I was paying for it. And I worked out what it cost me over 6 months. And then every single time I went, I divided the number of times I've been in that 650. I think it was, yeah, 650 for the 6 month period, which actually is quite a lot of money when I think about it in that way. But that was so great because then I could work out what that cost per class was and get really real with that number. Remember, you can decide and design it all. I think that we went through a stage with the internet where we were looking for blueprints, we were looking for formulas, the point and press. This person did this. I'll show you how to do it in 6 easy steps. We have to give ourselves back that agency and really think about, what do we need? What do we want? What's going to be useful? How can I make this work for me? Someone less smart, kind, talented is making more money than you, making more money than me, making more money than probably both of us put together. This is a really great reminder for me, because sometimes, especially when I've gone to that next income level, I've got in my head about these things. Can I? Is it too much? Self-doubt, imposter syndrome, all of that nonsense. And then I think about the way that other people are just moving through the world like they're the best thing. And I've also been witness to other people's work who are charging a lot more than me, and it's guff. It's not great. And so we have to have the audacity to really charge where the point where we think we're worth, that intersection of worth and value and results and how we're delivering. The fact that you are thinking about this means you are likely to be considered. When people talk about earning more money, they worry immediately that they're going to be a terrible person. Like, yes, but what will people think? Or I'm not sure. Most people who make a lot of money are not thinking in that way. They're just so used to making a lot of money. So, the fact that you are thinking about it, you're being discerning, you're being thoughtful about it likely means that you're going to do great things with it. So give yourself some grace and some kindness, and realize that you're probably going to share it and be generous and accommodating. Very few of my female clients go, yeah, I'm going to make loads of money and then I'm going to buy a yacht and not share it with anybody. They are doing the opposite. They are building schools. They are feeding their kids. They are contributing to the school, whatever it is that they're doing. They're building free content for other women to learn from. So many great things. They're not buying yachts, not yet. Okay, this is when you're going to grab your piece of paper if you would like to. And we're going to look at some exercises today. The first one is, pricing is a spectrum. And the only thing you need to work on is making sure that it is rooted in integrity and in alignment. And ultimately, what you have to be able to do when you're charging, when you're putting yourself out there, is to be able to say it, to be able to sell it, and embody it. Now, pricing is a really interesting conversation because we all value different things. We also have access to all different forms of money. And even people who might earn less than you, they may spend more money on other things. And so we cannot control what everybody else will think. However, if we can get to that stage where we can really sit with our decision, with our consideration of like, this is where this pricing should land, and this feels a right fit for my ideal customer, game over. Like, that is all you have to do. You don't have to overthink it in a different kind of way. If you can embody it and if you understand and can translate that value, great. I also know that some people will have, like, I had one contract which was £20,000 and it was like signed, sealed, delivered, like so easily. I've also had an email trail that's probably gone on for a month over a 10 quid product because somebody didn't know if it was for them, and can you tell me some more information, and can you get on a call, and all of these things. I realize that money is complex in that way, and that £10 may be the equivalent of somebody's 20 grand budget. So it's about how you feel about that. And also knowing that if somebody really didn't feel like spending £10 with you on this thing was going to be a great thing, then please let them walk away. That is absolutely fine as well. Number two, when we're talking about charging and worth and value, I think it is hugely important for me to say when people talk about self-care, they talk about massages, they talk about spa days, they talk about getting your nails done, or going to a yoga class, or going to bed early. For me, money and having access to it and having regulation around it, it's up there with food, water, sleep, and exercise. And the aim here is about being able to live a regulated and vibrant life. I think lack of money sometimes can be portrayed as a bit spontaneous, a bit like, oh, I'm so uh, interesting and artistic and I'm a starving artist because I just don't know where the money's coming from and I'll figure it out. That might be fine on the surface, but underneath, your body is having a very different experience. And if you think about those moments where, and this might be linked to a money story as well, if you didn't know that there was going to be a point in time where you could safely go to sleep, you would put yourself in a panic situation. Likewise, if you finish the last piece of food in your house and you didn't know when you were going to be able to access food again, I mean, this is like a dangerous thing also, but that would put your body under such strain. This is how we need to see money and chargeable hours and money coming into your business, because your body is reacting in exactly the same way. That fight or flight situation, that grabby, hopey, wishing, oh my goodness, when is it going to happen? That panic. Because whilst you're in that situation, of course, there's bills to pay, there's things that are leaving your account as well. And so, even if you have brushed off this conversation and said things like, I don't really like talking about money, I don't really like talking about numbers, this is your kind reminder today that you have to bring it right up into the middle of this conversation. It is a basic, fundamental need. Even if you are you're in a partnership where all of the bills are taken care of, you need to know exactly what you need, what you have, and be able to access it too. Number three, in order to move into generous energy giving, sharing, impacting, you have to be fed first. And the better fed that you are, the more you can do. I remember coming home from hospital with both of my babies, and I fed both of my babies, and I did a bit of combination feeding with my son because he was massive. He was like the size of a turkey. But my daughter was just not interested. That's fine. Anyway, this is not about my feeding journey. This is about me being fed first. And my partner very much realized and took this on that his job was to feed me. Because if he fed me, I fed the baby was happier, the baby then slept, then we both slept, and then we had more energy to do the whole thing again. So he was on, I mean, it was like he was running a 24/7 calf. He was like, what do you want? Do you want tea? I'm going to make you a snack and I'm going to bring you something on a tray. And I realized that was such a lovely position to be in, certainly for the first couple of weeks before he went back to work. And then I was just feeding myself. But what can happen is sometimes the expectation on women, on people, is to give that energy, to be generous, to be all the things. And when we take it back to basic needs of, can you actually do that? Like, if I didn't have that good food in my body, I wouldn't have been able to produce that milk. Therefore, I wouldn't have been able to feed my baby anyway. So, this is really about making sure before you get to impact, before you talk about wanting to start a non-profit or whatever it is, are your basic needs being taken care of first? Number four, helping more people requires smart resources. And when I'm talking about smart resources, I'm talking about a laptop, I'm talking about technology, I'm talking about services or platforms that allow you to automate, and that needs money. I know that we can go, well, I'll just help more people by giving my time away for free. That is a finite resource. And so, what we need to think about when we're being dedicated to helping more people is making sure that we're putting that infrastructure in place so we can actually do that. Because also, guess what? Those people who don't really value what you're doing or what you're all about, they'll just want to take and they'll keep taking again and again and again, and they'll have no qualms in it. And so, if you can do it in a way that is sustainable and respected from their point of view, and you feel good doing it, that is the sweet spot we're aiming for. When you give and not receive, it might be okay at first, but only if that person values it. So imagine you went out for a cup of coffee like you would with a friend, and you say to your friend, I'll get these today. And your friend literally just picked up the coffee and didn't say a word. The first time they did that, you might be like, oh, okay, well, that's what that maybe they're thinking about something else, maybe they've got something on their mind. But I'm going to say that next time you were in a coffee situation with that person, part of you might be a little bit more reluctant to have that generosity because you want somebody, this is human nature, to value what you are giving. And the thing is, resentment can quickly appear. And we have to be mindful with our own resources. There are some people who will always ask, they'll take, they'll grab, they'll nab without question. They've become so accomplished at just taking, taking, taking. They don't assume that they have to pay. They don't assume that that's part of the way that they move. And also those people, because they're in that grabby situation, that grabby attitude and point of view, what you have will never be enough. And I was thinking about this based on something I read the other online. I think it was a video or something like that, where even people who go to Egypt, they leave like 1-star reviews for the pyramids. They're like, they weren't big enough, I couldn't get close enough, they're not all that, it wasn't as expected. And you're like, whoa, These are the pyramids. Come on now. So just bear that in mind. On one hand, you might think that being generous and accommodating and doing all of these things, but if the person on the other side is not appreciative, maybe it doesn't complete the circle in the same way. If you are accessing and charging limiting funds, you have limited options. So if we go back to the food analogy here, there might be only certain things that you can buy, which is like a 99 pence ready meal, or you're always just feeling like you're on a tight budget, or you can only, there's always this thing, isn't there? Like, oh, I'll just eat beans. I'll just eat beans again and again and again. And the truth of it is, as much as I like a beans on toast with a bit of cheese and a bit of ketchup on the side, would I want to eat that every single day for every meal? Absolutely not. So we have to really think about widening our world, widening what we see, and making sure that we are giving ourselves the opportunity to live a bigger life, or certainly live the life that we really want to have. Then, once you get to this next stage of earning a little bit more, you then can help people. For example, instead of just focusing on one ready meal for 99p or like two slices of toast and half a can of beans, you can then begin to batch things. You can make a batch of pasta. You can put a whole dish in the middle of a table and you can eat too. And you can make that shift in your business from just meeting your basic needs into the next layer of what's required. Next, however, there's going to be a point, unless you then go up to the next level after that, there's only ever going to be limited seats at the table. And so this is when you're looking to share the recipe. This is the point in your business and your charging where you're not just taking care of your needs and what you need to do to put food on the table. You're able to then share with your community, those around you. But if you really want to meet that impact and create, I don't know, a global community, you need to figure out how you are going to scale in that way. So essentially, share the recipe. So you can create something like a passive income product where you share the recipe of the thing and people can be batch cooking their pasta meals all day long without you being there. You are in the conversation, you are bringing in the money from those moments, but it's working without you. Number 9, this will allow for options, choice, and flexibility. So I want to make this really clear. When people say, I'm not that bothered about money, if I could just make my bills, if I could just, have a little bit extra, guess what? That is the business that you're going to create. And so instead of just thinking about this next chapter or this next half of the year in that way of like just making do, I want you to expand yourself. So I want you to use an analogy of, say you had a 1 o'clock meeting and you approached it just in time. Whew, gosh, I'm here. What time is it? 1 o'clock. Oh, phew, I made it. That is very different energetic wise, to you arriving at 10 to 1, finding a seat, gathering your thoughts, taking some time to consider, going through your notes. By the time 1 o'clock comes round, you've got capacity, you've got a clarity of thought, you've got options, you've got a sense of self. You are right there in the room. You're not in this scatty energy of like, where am, oh gosh, I've just made it. You are in this point where you have options, you have choice, and you have flexibility. You're not sweating the small stuff. You're not making those little tiny decisions. For example, those moments where you can see it's 1:45, you're trying to get there and you're like, oh, shall I run in these shoes? But I can't run in these shoes. I don't want to get a taxi because that's too much money. Will I get on the tube? What? You don't want to be doing that. You want to be a person in business who is making excellent decisions and really connecting to that impact piece of the puzzle. And finally, be clear about where you're going. Look out for role models. When I was a kid, I didn't really have that many role models in terms of what I wanted to do. Nobody was talking in a way that I was talking when I was a kid. So I had to seek them out. I used to sometimes, when I was a child, ask for a blank box of videos. If I got like a pack of seven or something, I was like, oh my goodness. And I used to back everything up and I used to write all the stuff and I used to write the minute I would be taping episodes and interviews from Parkinson. I'd be watching behind the scenes documentaries. I was seeking out that information. Now, with podcasts and YouTube and the library and programs and streaming services, like we can find so much information. So instead of going, oh my goodness, and being really small like this, I want you to be clear about where you're going. Look for role models. And if they can do it, guess what? You can do it too. In terms of the next steps, I would love to help you in one of my strategy session experiences. If you want to find out more, please go to the sessions page, nikkiraby.com/sessions. If money is on your mind, as it is for most people, Create Your Income Pie will be perfect for you. There are 3 ways that you can join, everything from an online course into a monthly moves, which is the course, and 30 days of support and one-on-one time with me also. I would love you to check it out. And if you add magic at checkout, you can save yourself 20%. So have a look, nikkiraby.com/money. If you need to speak to me and want to set up a call and chat through some options, send me a message, hello@nikkiraby.com. Or if you go on any page of my website, there is a button in the bottom right-hand corner. If you click on that, it expands into a messenger and it goes directly to me. So it's completely confidential, only read by me, and I'll get back to you with some times. Thank you so much for watching. I have loved being here with you. If I can help in any way, I look forward to hearing from you. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow, and please subscribe to the playlist. Lots of love.